Hey!
Yeah!
Oh, yeah, son. Oh, yeah, son. Happy Free For All Friday. The Thermacell.
Andy Miloclakis.
Suck it. Andy Miloclakis.
There we go. Got the
The
mosquito
mosquitoes
tracer there.
are dropping dead. This is the best investment I've ever made in, anti-mosquito technology. So for anyone out there, again, not a sponsor, Thermacell, but highly recommended. Just like a recommended.
But you can be a sponsor.
Yeah, of course, anytime. But thank you for spending your Friday with us. We're going to have a fun show, Free For All Friday, of course. Taking your calls, taking your comments the entire show. And we are going to get into some of the stories going on. I know, baseball is kind of dragging out. We'll talk about that for, a little bit. Switch over here. Sorry, I'm, working on two screens here. But thanks for joining us. I did want to mention right at the top of the show, I just kind of went through last night and did the math here. And, Tyler, we are up to 4,475 views total.
Oh, yeah. Thank you all. That's ridiculous. Why would that many people want to watch us?
Well, there's that many people with bad taste, I guess. I don't know. But
or even if it's 10 people that watch us 447 and a half times.
Just loop it. You know what? If you fall asleep, just set it up to where it just keeps playing, please.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. But
trying to get that Thermacell sponsorship, they don't want to, So we're 525 away from 5,000. We'll have to do a special treat of some kind. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
Thank you all so much, though. That is ridiculous.
Appreciate you guys watching. And it does look like we got our first caller of the evening on the Tito Auto Body and Used Tires hotline. Tito Auto Body and Used Tires, 3581 University Avenue. Tito Auto Body and Used Tires, where you don't pick up your car until you pay for it. And that is the Tito's guarantee. Joining us on the Celebrity Hotline, Daniel. How are we doing this evening?
Oh, hanging in there, guys. Welcome.
Thank you. As we all are.
Target 614 legend, Daniel Vasquez.
The one, the only.
That's some inside baseball target
and
talk. You're dropping the store.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, that was like the minor leagues. Then you stepped up to the major leagues at 614.
Yeah, I went from the west side to the east side.
Exactly.
Well, I did want to get your opinion, Daniel. I know you're a Laker fan. As far as what is shaping up here with the proposed playoff format, maybe the play-in tournament as well. It's going to be, obviously in a controlled location, and they're basically going to reseed just based on record. Conferences kind of thrown out the window, sort of. But how are you looking at this, or do you think it's good or bad for the Lakers, or you're just happy to see it back on?
I mean, I'm happy just to see it on, period. I'm definitely a huge Laker fan. Tyler's known me for a while and knows that I'm just diehard Laker fan, diehard Kobe fan, and RIP Kobe. But I'm in favor of just anything, really. 1 through 16, 1 through 8, East versus West, North versus South. I don't care. But the one part that does worry me is the Brooklyn Nets. If Kyrie and Kevin Durant play, but you got if they're gonna bring it, bring it.
Yeah, and I just want to see. I mean, hell, we were the iRacing show of record on the network here. Shout out to iRacing, plenty of great content there. But you, as pretty much every other sports fan, even if you're not a fan of every sport, we just want to see some meaningful games get played. And I know basketball, hockey, they were right about to go into the playoffs, so everyone was just like ready to go, and then everything got shut down. Thank you, Rudy Gobert. No, I'm just kidding. But still, I think however they have to do it, from a logistics standpoint, and then just to make it work where the players are safe and can get these games on TV, I am 100% in. I'm a Laker fan myself, and obviously I like to see them win. It seemed like they had a good chance, but I just want to see the playoffs be played, just to kind of have that distraction of, all right, cool, NBA playoffs are back and going. And Tyler actually might get an appearance from his beloved Kings.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a 1 in a million shot.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's a chance. That's right. That's all I need.
Yeah, I kind of, mimic Daniel. I mean, even though, my Kings look probably not going to make the playoffs, but I'm down for anything. Give me any sort of live basketball, especially, playoff basketball is a lot of fun. I am interested. Shout out to Callan. Check him out Monday to Friday mornings here on the Quarantine Network. But I'm really curious, definitely, to see what kind of format they go with, just because the potential finals matchups, could be something we've never seen. Like if the Lakers and Clippers get put on opposite sides of brackets, an All LA final it's a very intriguing matchup, especially with all the moves that both teams have made the last few years. I think there's a lot of really interesting possibilities. I know some people would prefer just the East-West. I kind of would like to see them mixed up and try something new, just to see something different.
Yeah, I would definitely wouldn't be angry of either or. If they do a 1 through 16, bring it. That would definitely be interesting, and this would be the time. If you're going to try something crazy, do it now, because this may be your only shot. And next year you can go back to normal if you want to go and say, hey, it didn't work out. Let's just go back to what it was.
And I think that's something that not, obviously fans will be coming back to the, live events and things at some point. That part will change, but you might see some things that come out of this, getting creative, thinking outside the box that end up sticking, whether it's the NFL or hockey or NBA, whatever it is. Some of this stuff may carry over. So like you said, it's a good time to kind of play around with things, just to see maybe what is feasible, or, hey, maybe that really worked out well, or that didn't work so well, but we had to do it, but as long as they get back out there, I think everyone as fans is really going to appreciate that. So I'm looking forward to that very much.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more, man. It's just, we need that basketball back. We need it back. And it's also going to be crazy. It's also going to be crazy that it's going to be a weird and interesting time. Yeah, everything's going to slowly come back, but there's going to be a point in time where it's going to be nothing but sports on, and you're going to try to figure out what you're going to want to watch more.
You know what?
That's
an uptown problem. That's a good problem to have.
Exactly. Problems, that's for sure. But it's just like, oh man, baseball. This is a really good game, and then finals are on and whatever. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun though.
And a December World Series, maybe. I don't know. Just throwing it out.
You know what? I would take it, even though it's looking a little less likely based off of the slow news coming out of the MLB. But hey, we'll see. Maybe something will happen.
Which I think too, some of the points that both of you guys made, and we were just talking about, what will maybe carry over from this, and what is just just for this year to get something going. I know the Danish league did return, the soccer league, and Aarhus, from Aarhus in Denmark, came up with a pretty creative solution for their first home game. They actually had a setup of screens put right on the, basically on the sideline facing the TV, where they just did a giant Zoom call with all the fans, and they just put them right there, as you can see right there. So everyone could, log in and watch. They had big fans, either on like these multi screens, or some people had the full screen. I love this one with the kid doing the surrender cobra. It's like, all right, sports are back. Like, if you don't have that face, you're not a sports fan. And this guy pounding a beer as well. Kind of looks like me right now with no haircut. But I think we're going to have to see some more creative things like that. But I really enjoyed the fact that they did that, and I thought it was pretty well done, all considered. I mean, I don't know what it felt like as a player to be down there on the field during that, but I mean, it's got to give you a little bit more ambiance than just, playing in front of no one.
Both those photos of a man just pounding a beer and a kid with a surrender cobra look like how I will look when the Premier League comes back on Saturday mornings watching West Ham.
Yeah, true. I am ready to get hurt again. Come back, West Ham. Can't wait. Just to wake up early, get ready to go to the bank. Tyler texts me. They blew it. They blew it with 5 minutes left. I'm like, all right, cool. Great. Now
I wonder if they'll have audio. I'm sure they won't, but I wonder if they should allow a little bit of audio to transpire. You can hear everyone moan at the same time, like, oh, they missed it.
Yeah, I know. They're having a debate right now about should they pipe in the crowd noise or not, which we'll see. I know, Dortmund and some other German teams have kind of experimented with that. But hey, if they're out there playing, I'm happy, even if it's West Ham, just pooping all over my heart and hopes and dreams. But, that's how we're back to normal. We're good. Everything's going to be all right. Do you want to take a moment here? Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, I was saying, it's just that is an interesting idea, of utilizing that. We've seen teams that put, photos of their fans in the stands, or sex dolls or Pokemon dolls in the stands.
Allegedly.
But look, they got fined for it. It's not alleged. Plus, anything's a sex doll if you try hard enough. But so I think this is kind of the next step, and we'll see if it goes even further. I don't know if you saw, but the governor of Texas said they were going to allow 25% capacity in their stadiums.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're doing these things to get back to a sense of normalcy whenever our pro sports come back on. So I mean, I really do like the Zoom idea. I think it's a great utilization of technology. Obviously, there are some downfalls of you can't control what everybody's showing on their screen, or control what you say. But no, I think it's a really cool idea, and again, it helps the fans stay connected to the team as well.
And I think the Zoom Surrender Cobra Kid is all of us as sports fans. We just want to get mad at our team again. Come on, that's all.
Just so we can get mad like that again.
Yeah, that's only the feeling that being a fan of a team can bring you. That's a special, special place.
This is true.
But I do want to mention here, let's see, it looks like we got another caller on the line that will be on the Sabores Colombianos Celebrity Hotline. Sabores Colombianos, 3695 University Avenue, City Heights' premier destination for fine Colombian cuisine. Let's bring in Callan to the stream. Callan, how are we doing tonight?
Ron, you ask for giant green screens, and a league, I guess, watches TQN Sports in the mornings as they heard your advice, and there you go, man. So you're already going places. How's it going, fellas? Good to see you.
I'm an ideas man.
I'm a
big picture guy.
Hey, Callan.
What is what's the jersey that you're rocking, by the way? I saw you wear that during your show today. I like
throwback. I like throwbacks.
Okay. I like that.
I do like the little jerseys.
Yeah. Yeah, going with KJ today.
When we previously talked, I know we were talking a lot about the baseball, kind of, they're sort of dragging their feet. It's back and forth. I didn't get a chance to see your show today. I was at work. Has anything new come out of that, or kind of where are you coming down on that as it stands right now?
No, I think, Ron, more than anything else today was more of David Price's very generous offer to the minor leaguers in the Dodgers system. I know that Tyler actually brought it up on one of the programs this week about, forget about what's going on. Let's remember what's going on, though, too, in the minors, because there's probably going to not be a minor league baseball season. You're talking about maybe 25 or more teams being forced to fold, or they won't be a part of the system anymore. So I believe I think Lancaster, California was kind of on the chopping block, and they were going to move
the Jethawks.
They were going to be moving the Fresno Grizzlies, who are right now in AAA ball, down to Class A to fill that void with the Jethawks leaving. And then, of course, as Tyler said, though, too, the conditions are just terrible. The pay has been cut by either a certain day. Of course, the A's have, raised a lot of eyebrows and started a lot of controversy with that. And I think David Price was, in a way, kind of like maybe the savior of baseball for right now, as to kind of get some sort of positive publicity. But other than that, I think we're still kind of at a standstill with Major League Baseball, and expected to kind of be that way for the next couple days, if not longer.
Yeah, glad you had brought that up, because I heard you mention that on your show earlier about David Price just taking the money out of his own contract to say, hey, let's go ahead and get this to all our minor leaguers that aren't on the 40-man roster, just kind of help supplement their income. And I think it's been definitely not a good look for the A's, because as of right now, pretty much every other team has come out and said, we're going to keep paying our minor leaguers. The A's are the only one that said, sorry, guys, we're not paying you. And, of course, this was a couple weeks after they just refused to pay their rent for the Oco Coliseum. So the A's definitely aren't giving a good look for themselves right now.
Not looking great.
And that's and that's the last thing that a individual organization needs to have happen. And when we've talked about baseball, and I know Ron's been very vocal about, the last thing that baseball needs is like a issue like this to hold back the season, with it being about labor and money. And the last thing that a sport needs to also have happen is have an organization in the limelight for the wrong kind of reasons, as is the Oakland Athletics right now in baseball.
Well, as we've seen over time, the A's really don't care about anything, and they also don't have that much money, relatively speaking. I do love the A's. My dad's a huge A's fan. Sorry, Baron, I know you're watching, but not a good look, bud. Not a good look. Let's tighten it up, especially when they're saying, $1 million could have kept everything going through August. And who knows where you'd be then, but yikes. Yeah, David Price, someone out there making baseball look halfway decent in these confusing times.
Also, got to give a shout out because I think this happened right about the time we first started this show. Because I remember mentioning it, but Shin-Soo Choo had also done the same thing a couple months back.
That's
taking
right.
some of his pay to give to minor leaguers. Kind of when this whole shit pile started.
It's a good way to put it, though. It's a good way to put it.
I couldn't think of a better word, but definitely big shout out to both those guys. They're not
they're just trendsetters. Okay.
Trendsetters.
Typical A's fans.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Stay on your pirate ship over there in Oakland. All right.
Well, that pirate ship's going to Vegas next football season there, Mr. Davis.
Let's go.
The other Davis.
Eternal flame. Cousin Al. I do want to take a chance here, and I'll get your guys' thoughts on this too. We had this ready to go on Wednesday, but we didn't have time to get to it, so we do have to bring in this friggin' guy, which actually for the first time is a sports tie-in. So let's fire this up. So as you know, we are the iRacing show of record on the Quarantine Network. This was actually not a NASCAR iRacing issue. This was a couple days ago in Formula E over in Europe. But this is when iRacing gets, maybe a little too real. This guy was in the Formula E, virtual series, and he actually hired a professional gamer guy to drive for him. But it all kind of went awry because the guy actually got third place. And so it was pretty obvious that it was not him. And then they also have to do an appearance on the podium, which you can see he's conspicuously absent because the screen is blacked out. There's another funny one here too, where this whole thing was an elaborate setup because they dressed him as the guy would dress. Obviously he's muted, so you can't tell, it's clearly not his voice. And his face is just obscured enough, so you can't tell if it's him or not. But the guy ends up getting third place. Long story short, everyone in the world found out about it, and Audi in real life fired him from the Formula E team, which, we're in a weird quarantine world here. But like I said, we saw, Bubba had some run-ins there, and obviously, oh man, there was, some controversy that spilled over into the real life aspect of it. So I did want to just put that out there. I know Formula E is not super big here. Formula One's the biggest racing in the world, but it's, again, probably take a backseat to NASCAR or individual race-wise, maybe the Indy 500, but in the States, I mean. But I did want to just get, Tyler, your thoughts on that, and maybe you guys as well, if you want to chime in. It's a weird time we're living in.
The legacy of Milli Vanilli lives on in the Formula E racing.
Oh, what's the whole thing of like, copy my homework, just kind of change things. Change
it a little bit, yeah.
I kind of feel like that's what's happened here in this one, and I don't really play video games typically, but this might be like one of the greatest screw jobs, maybe worse than the Montreal screw job in WWF. Who the hell knows? My goodness gracious, that is genius though.
My thing is that how are you going to pay someone to get you third place?
All right, so come on, pay to win, not third place. I agree.
Well, the funny thing too was the other drivers were initially tipped off because, and I saw quotes from some of them, he hasn't been that good at iRacing. Like, why is he so good? So he realized he sucked. They know he wasn't good at it. He's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get this guy. He'll race. I'll look good, but it all blew up in his face when the guy got third place.
Womp womp.
I told you to be good.
He goes over there.
Put some typos in there.
goes out there and hires Ninja or one of those like top Twitch streamers to race for him.
Now,
everything gets blown up.
Yes.
That makes sense because he's like, you know what? I can't pay someone to be too good, so I just need someone just
pay him
to
enough to be good enough to come in for second or third.
The best like finishing to this story, the ultimate swerve would be if Audi hired the virtual race guy. I would love that.
But I guess this just brings up another question: is I would understand if they were like, "Hey, this guy got first. This is odd." How bad was he that they were like, he got third, and like this is bringing red?
I can only
he
imagine. I can only imagine like one of those guys that was like so far behind that he was like probably intentionally wrecking drivers just to cause havoc.
I mean, there were several NASCAR guys that just could not pick it up. Put them in an actual NASCAR and they're top level guys, but they just never they did the iRacing, but it just they couldn't figure it out.
Terrible.
But this seems pretty blatant. I don't know how you didn't know you were obviously not going to get caught like immediately, which is clearly what happened. Like, but before they even did like the trophy whatever ceremony, like we showed the podium, like the jig was already up. Like, where's Dan at? You gonna show up, bud? He's like,
so Phil looks like he doesn't want to like even accept the victory. He looks so disinterested in the whole thing.
No, I think they're both just like, Dan's up to some bull crap right now. I know he's not him. I know it's not him.
Dan.
They both are.
Dan. Classic Dan.
That classic
No
Dan.
affiliation, by the way.
Yeah, no relation to Daniel joining us on the program.
Give it a bad name to other Daniels out there. You gonna speak for that guy?
No, I will not. I would have paid someone to get first place. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if you're gonna cheat all the way.
You get first or you don't get paid. That's it.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, if you're not in first, you're in last.
I mean, that's pretty much it with racing.
But also the old phrase of if you're not cheating, you're not trying. See, and he was trying.
Very
obviously,
good.
Okay.
Obviously, I live by that credo, Callan.
What was the old Jesse Ventura line? Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. That was, I believe, Jesse Ventura's go-to line.
The great Jesse Ventura.
Body Ventura.
So the next thing I did want to touch on, and I don't know if you guys can even answer this, but Callan, you may have seen this, and people that follow the quarantine work may have seen. Tomorrow there is kind of a pretty big deal, pretty big get for the Quarantine Network. There will be an interview at 1:00 p.m. Pacific time with the great actor Richard Dreyfuss. Now, from what I understand from a post I saw today, the interview is mostly going to be about the Civil War, which I'm already kind of like, okay, I really want to see this because I don't know where Richard Dreyfuss is going to go with this. But when Ronnie and I saw this, we saw that news after we ended our show Wednesday. Actually, Callan, you were on there as well.
Right.
Well, you weren't with us, but you were on the show. But I don't know if you two are familiar with the great movie, and it's sports related, Let It Ride, starring Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
You've seen it,
classic.
Daniel.
Classic.
Oh, Daniel,
You
you just got muted, bro.
What are we on around
Those
the
are
horn?
fighting words on this show.
Yeah, I know.
Muting people.
Yeah, you lose points for that. I Tony reality you right now.
But when we saw this, we were both just like, oh my god, like, Let It Ride is a funny movie, pretty underlooked under the Richard Dreyfuss filmography. We did want to
look it up right now as we speak.
Yeah,
I know everything about it. So keep going.
But we did just put. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, horse racing, it's polarizing. Some people really hate it. Some people love it. Besides that, the main thing about this movie is, and this can trickle down to a lot of sports fans, if not most or all. I know not everyone is a gambler, but just the depths of degenerate gambling. I think that is probably one of the best examinations of how insane people get over gambling. And it's just, this guy catches fire. He has one day and everything hits. And we've all been in the sports books, just kind of seeing the seedy people that hang out there. That's the first place I go whenever I go to Las Vegas or somewhere that has sports books. Like the Indy casinos here do not have them, but it's more for all the games are on, so it's cool. But even if you don't bet, it's fun just to hang out there and just kind of like, people watch. Just
People
like,
watch.
yeah, this guy.
There's characters.
He
There's
lives down the
characters there.
street. He's here every day though. He just bet like his last $10 on like a Nets game or something.
I will say I was in Vegas for my parents' 35th wedding anniversary 2 years ago, and this was when the NBA was moving a women's pro NBA team to Mandalay Bay, and I'd gone to the game just to kind of go and spend my last day there. But walking through Mandalay Bay or walking through any casino though with the sports book, as Ron was alluding to though, and just seeing though about how the sports world has grown to what you can bet on now between martial arts, obviously boxing's been the coup de grace in Vegas forever, and then all the major sports. But like they even had odds for the WNBA games for that day. They even tried to dive into the National Lacrosse League this past season, or even last year. They also tried it with MGM Resorts. So I think it's been great to kind of see how Vegas has embraced sports. But more than anything else, though, I think, Ron, you would agree, but also how sports leagues have also embraced Vegas with pro basketball. Obviously, the Raiders are going there. There's been some spattering of rumors, and maybe Major League Baseball adds a team there somewhere. Probably the NBA adds an expansion franchise along with the Seattle Supersonics when they come back eventually. And that the Golden Knights are putting their American Hockey League affiliate there as of next season at the Orleans for 2 years before they go to Henderson. So great seeing Vegas to really truly embrace the sports world across the board.
I always thought too, especially when it comes to football, it was really very disingenuous of them to just basically not acknowledge gambling at all as a huge part of their following.
Mm-hmm.
So at least they're kind of, okay, well, we don't want it to affect the games, but yes, it's going on. I mean, we have to kind of permit this a little bit more. It's always been there. I mean, whether it's in Vegas where somewhere you can do it legally or probably for the most part illegally.
Yeah.
But it's been going on. It's going to continue to go on. So I think it's more of a realistic, modern view that, okay, gambling happens. It's going to happen whether we permit it or not, or act like it doesn't happen. So I'm glad to see them kind of coming around and just accepting that. So it's not like
right.
I mean, sports books are still going to be dirty and awesome and great, but I do think this is a turn for the better. I appreciate it anyway.
And more than anything else, I think I'm more appreciative too of seeing professional sports leagues embrace the city. Not for the gambling, but for the people that actually live there, folks that go there and tour, and especially too, when you factor in having two hockey teams essentially playing the same time as of next season at the Orleans and at T-Mobile Arena. Talk about all the hockey fans that are going to be coming at either level into the city. And, all that revenue, especially when it's not, and also one thing else during the Vegas kind of off season because it's not summertime.
Yeah. And I think it's just the way it's going. If you're going to be realistic, and, Vegas we saw the great response when they got the Golden Knights there. They can support these pro teams. And then if you're a fan of another team, you can make a weekend out of it, go there, see your team, and, spend money in the city and the casinos, whatever. So,
I mean, as an example, because I know we're running out of time, but when I went to this to the women's NBA game, Vegas was playing Minnesota. The amount of people, Ron, as you were alluding to, the amount of people that came there from Minnesota in June to watch the Lynx play was insane. And I think the arena holds at least 5,000 or 8,000. And it was a good majority. It was a good mix of people that were newbies to basketball or newbies to the NBA. And then obviously those folks that came down from Minnesota. So, hey, it's going to work for Vegas across the board in every sport that goes there and starts up shop.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to say thank you to Callan, obviously. Thank you to Daniel.
Thank you, guys.
We are going to get off here and let you guys go, but also thank you, the viewers. 4,475 views. Let's get to 5,000 sooner than later. And Tyler, take us out of here into the weekend.
Stick around for Book Club for TV. I believe they're still talking about Snowpiercer here on the Quarantine Network. But as always, keep the fire.
Keep the fire.